young, you remember your mother teaching you a shloka and asking you to pronounce it the right way. You found it difficult, is it? Or you found, why is my mom, pestering on me learning these things, or, learning this right? So let us understand why your mother said so. Today on our show, we are trying to understand, or why do we have to chant a shloka or a mantra, and why should we do it the right way? So let's understand all these. Welcome to Infort Honore.
ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆದ್ರೆ ಲೈಕ್, ಶೇರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ನಮಸ್ತೆ ಶಾರದೆ ದೇವಿ ಕಾಶ್ಮೀರಪುರವಾಸಿನಿ ತ್ವಾಮಹಂ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥಯೇ ನಿತ್ಯಂ ವಿದ್ಯಾದಾನಂ ಚ ದೇಹಿ ಮೇ.
Welcome to Infort Honore. That was Vidhya Sreenivasan from Songs of Sharada. Welcome to Infort Honore.
Thank you so much, dear ma'am.
So our viewers are confused, what conversation we are having with this shloka. So can you just give the gist of the shloka and what made you chant this today here?
Sure, absolutely. So the shloka means Namaste Sharade Devi. I bow down to Sharada Devi, Kashmira Puravasini, she who lives in Kashmir, she whose abode is Kashmir. Tvam aham prarthaye nityam. I pray to her all the time. Vidyadanam cha dehi me. Give me the gift of Vidya, of knowledge. So this is the shloka that I have chosen, particularly because it is an invocation to Sharada Devi. And she is the inspiration for what I do, because she is pure knowledge. And knowledge lights the way for us. Knowledge helps all of us move from darkness to light. And it is this divine knowledge. It is the knowledge of the self. It is the knowledge of that absolute reality. The knowledge that we are all God, we are all divine, we are all the divine consciousness. This helps us move from ignorance to absolute bliss.
So that is Aham Brahmasmi.
Absolutely.
Right. Yes. So Vidhya Sreenivasan was an English professor before. And what are you doing now?
So right now I am teaching shlokas, stotras, and sometimes mantras with the word by word meaning, with the right way of pronouncing, because this is Sanskritam, and also the right way of chanting it or singing it. And this is taught with a certain intention, right? Because we've been chanting all of our chants for a very long time now. It is something that a lot of us have traditionally done for a long time. But it's important to understand why we are chanting and what is the matter in those chants, right?
So usually there is a tendency, that depends upon the upbringing of any of the child. If there is a parent chanting or a grandparent chanting at home, and if you have that custom imbibed in your family, I listen, I also learn. Because my mother chanted, I also started chanting. And see, because it is Hindu culture, we have n number of gods and n number of shlokas. I prefer one of these shlokas. If I pick it up, my daughter or my son may pick it up, because it is a custom in the family. So that is how shlokas or mantras have been used.
Absolutely.
Unless and until you have taken it as a profession. If that is just a family thing, or if that is just your lifestyle, if you pick it up from the atmosphere where you are brought up.
Correct.
So now I understand that you also might have picked it up somewhere.
Yes,
like this.
That is true. My mother used to chant a lot of stotras. So I think somewhere I was always interested when she was singing those or chanting those. I would always listen and I would want to know what's the meaning of this, what's the meaning of that.
So what made you think of meaning of these shlokas?
See, these are very ancient chants that we're talking about. A very ancient language that we're talking about. And the language of Sanskritam itself, if we chant for some time right now, it could either be a mantra like Om, or it could be a shloka or a stotra also. After the chanting, like if you audit your energy system, if you audit your nervous system before you chant and after chanting, you will notice that after you chant, there is a lot of calmness within you, a lot of stillness within you. So what is it in these chants that is making that happen? Right? The language itself, it is a very potent language, and speaking this language more, chanting these more, especially when it is set in a certain rhythm and when there is a certain aesthetic beauty to it, when you chant, there is a certain stillness that happens. It calms down your nervous system, and what happens because of this is you feel more still, you have more clarity. which helps you not just in your spiritual journey as a sadhaka, but also in your day-to-day life. It helps you take better decisions. It helps you release stress. It helps you release tension and pressure. It helps you connect better with your fellow human beings, with your family, right? It helps you handle people in a better way. So I think there is often a misconception that things like these, whether it's meditation, whether it's chanting, or any other modality like this, it is only meant for those who are on the spiritual path. It is more relevant and important and useful for those who are living everyday life, because we are in the middle of things. We are in the thick of things. We deal with a lot of tension every day.
So let us decode it one by one.
Sure.
Before we begin, you mentioned to me that, when you take the audit of your nervous system, there is a change. So how do I understand the change after I chant, or before I chant and after I chant? How do I experience the change, and how do I understand that something has changed within me?
Shall we do an experiment about
Yes,
this?
please.
Maybe the audience can also join us as we're doing this. Let's chant Om 5 times.
Okay.
Let's sit comfortably, spine straight. Let's close our eyes and begin to chant. Let's sit in silence. How do you feel now?
Obviously calmer.
Right? It has a way of making you feel very still. That's because it's taking you to your inner self, right? Because what's happening is when you do a lot of chanting, you're not thinking, you're not intellectualizing anything.
Okay.
You're just chanting, you're using your voice. That is driving away a lot of the chatter in your mind, and it's taking you to your deeper self, your inner self, which is the Atma, which is your consciousness. And this consciousness is what we have always described as divine. When Adi Shankara says in his Nirvana Shatakam, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham, Chid Ananda Rupam. I am the form or the Rupam of Chid, which is consciousness, and Ananda, which is bliss. Shiva Aham. I am Shivam. Shivoham Shivoham. I am that Shivam. I am that consciousness. So anything that brings you closer to your inner reality, which is your consciousness, which is the divine, it will naturally calm you down, because the divine is absolute. Your consciousness it's not limited to you. Your consciousness is everything. And all of us are embodiments of that consciousness. So the more we go inside, the more it brings us to a point of stillness, of connectedness with everything.
Okay. So what mantras do I choose, or what shlokas do I choose to chant for these changes to be brought inside me?
Got it. So there are many. If you look at many of the ones that Adi Shankara himself has written, right? Simpler kind of language. It's very accessible. The Nirvana Shatakam is one which is definitely going to help you connect to the entire cosmos, feel a greater bliss, feel great peace of mind, and have that experience of quietness. It's definitely going to help you come closer to that. So that is the Nirvana Shatakam, and you have so many that you can chant for different purposes. For example, any chants on Shiva will typically, especially chants like the Shiva Panchakshara Stotra or the Lingashtakam, they're going to bring you closer to a point of stillness, because Shiva is that pure consciousness.
Okay.
Right? So anything, including Om Namah Shivaya, just chanting Om Namah Shivaya, it's going to bring you to a point of, it's going to bring you closer to a point of stillness. How close you get is a matter of, your clarity and the power of your will and the power of your sadhana. How often you do it, right? How intentionally you sit and do it. So it's a combination of all of those things, but you have different shlokas and stotras that have different outcomes, intended outcomes. For example, the Kanakadhara Stotra, the beautiful Kanakadhara Stotra by Adi Shankara, it is something that is known to banish poverty, and any kind of poverty. We're not just talking about material poverty. We're also talking
money.
about
Not just money. Yeah.
We're also talking about spiritual poverty, emotional poverty. We're talking about not being happy inside. We're talking about feeling heavy, feeling lonely, right? Feeling alienated, all of those things. Feeling shame. So the Kanakadhara Stotra is a beautiful chant that can, if you practice it regularly, it can help you attract abundance, banish poverty and attract the abundance of Devi Mahalakshmi.
Can you please emphasize on the last point you mentioned, feeling shame and Kanakadhara Stotra helps. How does it help and how do you...
Sure, I can. I can actually maybe go back to one of my own personal experiences. I remember there was one point in my life when I felt shame that was arising from a sense of low self-worth. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough.
All of us have it probably.
At different points of time, it
Yes.
just keeps coming. And when these feelings are very prominent, it also means that your subconscious mind is surfacing those feelings and giving you an opportunity to solve the problem, to address the issue.
Okay.
So when we plunge into depression or when we feel these very
That's a
intensely,
beautiful way of knowing things.
because the subconscious mind is always working with us. And when we feel certain things very intensely, when we feel pain, when we feel shame, when we feel low self-worth, it is because the subconscious mind wants you to solve that problem. Sometimes it can manifest even through disease, right? But the root cause is usually an emotional issue, some trauma that needs to be addressed, some feeling that needs to be addressed. And then you can, it's giving you a chance to acknowledge and release that feeling. So usually what you do is, it would help if you're able to go inside your subconscious mind, meet that feeling, don't run away from it. If it's a feeling of inadequate self-worth, a lack of self-respect, a lack of self-love, not feeling good enough, or some other pain because of some experiences we have had in life, it's important that we go towards them and not run away from them. Because we are usually running away to avoid the pain. But it's important to go towards it and accept it. Accept it with love, with unconditional love and acceptance. And when we do that, that feeling gets acknowledged. Because your feelings also want you to acknowledge them. They want you to feel that pain, right? And when you feel it, then it is easier for you to release it. To say, I have acknowledged you, we are safe now. I understand the pain you have been through. I offer you my love. You are free to release this pain. When we say that to ourselves, it's very powerful.
I think we should start doing it. Let us understand that I have been brought up in a country like India. I would love chanting, or I would know Sanskrit, or my language is somewhere based on it. It is easy for me to chant.
Correct.
There are people from various parts of the world. There are people here, who find it difficult to chant Sanskritam words. So how do you help them out?
Sure. So what I typically do when I work with anyone is, I meet them at the level that they are in. Okay. So what I teach is very beginner friendly. Yes, I am a bit of a grammar Nazi. So for me, you would have to ultimately work on making sure you pronounce the, in its proper place. So you have the dirgha sounds, which are meant to be pronounced in that way. And in Sanskritam, it's so intrinsic, it's so nuanced because you have a sh and you have a sh. For example, it's Shiva, but it's Vishnu, Lakshmi, right? Shakti, but Lakshmi. So there's a lot of nuance there. So we do need to work on making sure we are able to pronounce it the right way. But at the same time, this is not an exercise that is meant to increase your BP. It's not meant to stress you out. It's okay.
Actually, it has to lower your BP. Beautiful.
Exactly. It's not meant to stress you out. It's okay to take the time. So what I do is very beginner friendly, and I also work with a lot of children. So I teach them shlokas and a bit of storytelling and all of those things. So it's important to take it at a level that makes the learner feel comfortable, feel respected. It is okay. Even if you don't know how to say it perfectly, it is okay. The fact is, if you're interested and you're willing to learn, fabulous. That's the only thing that matters. That's the only thing that matters.
So what if I learn either of these shlokas from you and I start chanting it today? Due to my lifestyle or my work schedule, I stop at some point of time. Is there any ill effects, or do you feel that change in you?
See, the thing is, it depends. I would say typically with shlokas and stotras, you don't have to worry about those things. If you're taking something more intense like a mantra diksha from someone, right? then you have to understand how you're meant to do that. Because if you have been doing it for a certain amount of time and then you stop it suddenly, depending on the mantra, you'll just have to be aware of that. That is a different process altogether. So that you'll have to work with your guru to really understand what it's doing to you. But when it's simpler stuff like stotras and shlokas, you really don't have to worry about anything.
Just like a song, you hum, you enjoy, and you forget.
Exactly. And you chant it also for example, at a certain phase in your life, you might feel like you need more of something. So at that phase, it is important for you to
chant
one stotra. For example, if you wish to eliminate shame, eliminate poverty, any kind of poverty from your life, right? Then chanting, learning the Kanakadhara stotra, chanting the Kanakadhara stotra, even listening to the Kanakadhara stotra, it can do wonders.
That was another point I wanted to ask, because maybe I'm not that comfortable learning, I'm not that comfortable chanting. There's a lot of podcasts available, now it is at your fingertips. So if I tend to listen to it every day with concentration, does it help?
Absolutely. See, the thing we need to remember is everything is energy. Of course, when you're going to be chanting it, you're generating so much of energy within yourself. So that's very powerful. But even when you learn, even when you listen, even when you tune into that energy, right, it will have its effect for sure.
And when it comes to shlokas or chanting mantras, we emphasize on the correct pronunciation of it. So why is it emphasized so much?
See, one is that Sanskritam is a very powerful language. It has a lot of potency. So while we learn to utter it the right way, the effects are going to be multifold. But I also see that there is a lot of fear about chanting it because, what if I get it wrong? I think somewhere we have to understand that it is important to come from a space of love rather than a space of fear. And
today, it is obvious that people are doing a lot of things with fear and not with love towards God, is what I feel. That is what we sense around. Oh my God, you're doing this. This is wrong. It is just your connection with the divine. It is just your conversation with the divine. So what if my intentions are pure and I just say something wrong and wrong? Yeah, that the mother can correct a child. Obviously, the divine can also correct us. This is what I feel. What you say.
It's very beautiful that you said the word the mother can correct the child, because I remember a guru based out of Tamil Nadu, Sri Praveen Radhakrishnan. So he was talking about this very same issue, and it was so charming what he said. He was saying that, at the earlier stages when a sadhaka is doing a little bit of mantra chanting, and if the pronunciation is not right at that point, it is like a mother who's listening to the lisping of her child, right? So at that point, when the child doesn't know how to speak properly, the child is maybe dearer to the mother at that point.
Yes.
So it works.
And you enjoy it more.
Correct. No, I would say that when it comes to, especially with mantras, it's important to take it a little bit more carefully, because these are very powerful chants. Mantras are more potent than shlokas and stotras. They're very potent. So it is important to make sure you're doing it with a very good amount of guidance. But with the regular chants, just work on it. Don't come from a space of fear, either when dealing with divinity or when dealing with anything else. Come from a space of abundance. Come from a space of love. Come from a space of love. Let's not operate out of fear. It's a process, it's a journey, right? And the change may not happen overnight, which is okay. But it's important for us to understand where we're coming from. Because if one part of it is fear, can we do better? Because fear is going to make us stay in control. Fear is going to keep, telling us that there are consequences to bad behavior, or it's just going to keep us in a loop, right? Which is not good, which won't let us break free, which won't let us feel liberated. It's extremely claustrophobic. It's not good for us, right? So when we make a transition to acting, thinking, feeling, speaking, living from a space of love, whether it is with God, whether it is with our relationships, whatever it is, there is a great deal of clarity and light that we are bringing into those spaces, which is also going to positively impact the people who are around us, right? And it's also going to impact our decisions that we make in material life as well. The energy of complaining is not known to bring you abundance, whereas the energy of gratitude is known to bring you abundance. Coming from a space of we are good, we are safe, right? We are blessed, we have plenty.
Half the time we hear the opposite versions of it.
And we think the opposite also.
Yeah.
Because that's how the mind works, right? But when we rewire our mind, when we rewire our thinking to come from a space of abundance, to come from a space of I am held in such protection, I am protected, I am in plenty, I am in abundance, that is going to also help you get past your own insecurities, right? And that energy of plenty and abundance is going to spread around you also. Those around you are also, that's how we learn from each other, right? We absorb those energies. So that's going to help the ones around. We are going to live a life that is slowly freer and freer from limitations, from holding ourselves back. We owe that to ourselves. We do need to live our highest life. We need to live to our highest potential. So coming from a space of plenty is going to help you earn plenty. It's going to help you make a lot of wealth, create opportunities, attract better relationships for yourself.